Welcome to Awakening, the podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Heather Christian Strang, but you can call me Dr. Christian, Dr. HK, Christian. Choose what works for you. And today we are going to give you the foundation, the absolute most clear and concise formula for how you can create anything that your soul truly desires here on earth. Are you into that? Yes. I love to distill things down into very concrete, grounded formulas and making it very, very simple for you as a being here on this earth to easily have your life experience. Like this, choose your own adventure, obstacle course, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego experience that we are having here on earth presents enough obstacles, challenges, expansion points there. We can say that even better. And so in my work, my intention is always to make it as easeful as possible for the humans that I serve. So I'm going to give you a 3-step formula today to create anything that you want to create on earth. Are you into that? So exciting. Okay, so I'm going to give you the 3 steps and then I'm going to break down each step for you. So you might want to get out a pen and paper so that you can take notes because this is really rich, really good. And what you'll find is that it's really, really simple. And there is, of course, complexity within the simplicity. But if you stay in that connected to source state, you will see how truly simple it is to create anything here on this earth that you want to create intentionally and powerfully and potently. So we're in a very incredible time in our consciousness, as you heard me talk about and as you no doubt know. I mean, this is really the main event. Like you incarnated for 2020 to 2022 and on, right? So we're in this really potent time, 2020 to 2030, 2036, super incredible transformative time in our consciousness and in our lifetime. So, you came for this. This is the event you came for. So energies are intense. They're powerful. Your ability to create when you're connected at any level of source, even if you're disconnected, the level to create, the instant manifestation is here. So we want to be conscious creators and creatrixes. We want to take actions that will have the highest benefit to our own incarnational experience and the incarnation of those we cross paths with, those we're related to, those we're in community with, those that we love, which means you have to bring in a degree of wisdom, right? So right about now, in this portal that we're in, and we're in at the time of me recording this podcast, we're in this eclipse window, so everything is heightened. Folks are coming onto the earth, folks are leaving the earth, and it's happening quick and fast. And it's happening all for our benefit. This understanding that everything is happening for you, the grief, the loss, the love, the new beginning, all for you. Can your grief, can your loss take you deeper into love and into our theme of 2022? And perhaps this will extend even further beyond this, immense love. Can you let everything that happens take you deeper into immense love? That is your invitation in 2022. So how do you create in these energies when there's so much moving? It can be so easy. When you're a highly sensitive being, and I know you are if you're listening to this, it can be so easy to allow yourself to get overwhelmed, distracted by all that's happening, not only in the external collective world, but what's happening just you trying to ground into your day and create something. It can be super challenging because the frequencies are moving at such an accelerated rate. So much is happening so quickly. So the intention for this podcast episode today is that you'll really be able to ground and be able to create from this grounded place, even though the energies are, let's keep it real, a little bit bananas or a lot bit bananas. And we, again, are in this portal of time from 2020, 2030, 2036. We'll see exactly how it all plays out. This is transformation station, loves. This on the individual level, on the collective level. And yes, transformation is available to us at any stage of the journey, regardless of what's happening in the astrological realms or in the cosmos. And there are specific things that happen in the cosmos that help accelerate and support your ascension, embodiment, unification journey that you are on. And that is the journey to be the divine human in form, which is what I'm super passionate about supporting folks and being able to do. So let's get to it. We're going to talk about these 3 steps and then how you can dig a little bit deeper into each of the 3 steps. So how to create anything at this time in consciousness, consciously and wisely. Because you can speak shit into form all day, every day. But is that coming from your true self? Is that going to be a benefit to you and your incarnation and those in your community and those you love and those you serve? Not if you're not doing it intentionally and consciously. Or I should say it can be sort of hit or miss if you're not doing it intentionally or consciously. So the first step to create anything during this incredible portal of time that we are in is 1, to connect to your source self. We also call this your higher self. This is your slice of source self, the aspect of you that is in non-physical and will remain in non-physical, who knows why you came, who knows why you're here, who knows what you came to do and be and have and experience. Got to be connected to who you really are, is your true self. Some might call this your God self, your goddess self, your higher self, your source self. Use whatever terminology most resonates with your deep wisdom within. But the first step is you got to connect to your source self. And please understand that this artificial matrix that you're existing in is working all day, every day to keep you from connecting to this higher wisdom. Because what happens if you're connected to this higher wisdom? You're not participating in the artificial matrix. You're not consuming the products. You're not paying the systems. You're not showing up and playing the game as the debtor, as the slave, as the servant. So the food, the media, the environment, the homes that are built, everything is built to keep you disconnected from who you really are. But this is the baked into the cake part that we knew, that you knew when you incarnated. Oh, I'm going to come here. It's like an obstacle course. I get it. So choose your own adventure. I have free will. I get to decide. And oh yes, every day, all day, this artificial matrix is trying to get me to forget who I really am. So let's pump those babies full of you-know-whats. Let's give them all the shots and injections. Let's get the humans. Oh, you have a pain? Here we have some chemicals for you, right? Like everything. Oh, you want to eat nutritious food? Yeah, we're going to spray it with chemicals. We're going to idolize and idealize and put them everywhere. This non-food, toxic food that gets you chemically addicted. That'll keep you numbed out. That'll keep you from connecting to your source self. So every day, all day, that's the mission of the artificial matrix. And there's no one to be angry about, because that's just the deal of coming onto Earth. That's what you signed up for. That's what you said, yes, I want to go there and I want to master that. So connecting in with your source self, number 1 step if you want to create anything, and certainly at this time in consciousness, when we are at this stage where there is this mass, what we might call ascension, air quotes, although I do believe, and as I've been shown by Mary Magdalene and Yeshua in the highest light, it is not just an ascension process. It is an ascension, embodiment, unification journey that we are on that allows you to be your divine human self in form, as Yeshua, the one called Jesus the Christ, did, as Mary Magdalene did, as Mother Mary did, as Buddha did, as many, many human souls have done throughout the course of this earth experience. Okay, step 2 of how to create anything during this incredible time in consciousness: consistency, persistence, resilience. Number 1 thing I see humans not having, especially highly sensitive beings. Highly sensitive beings, not good at consistency, persistence, and resilience. Really good at being flaky, really good at bailing out on their commitments, really good at not seeing things through because it's too hard and their nervous system gets overwhelmed and they haven't done the work to strengthen their body, their soul, and their nervous system. So it's hard for them to complete the mission. So check in with yourself. Is this me? Do I struggle with consistency, persistence, and resilience? Because you want to create anything here on earth, you got to show up for it every day. You have to be persistent when you get rejected, and you have to be resilient when you get rejected. You have to be willing to love yourself and be so committed to your mission here on earth that if you say you're going to do something, you're fucking going to do it. You're going to follow through. There's no chance you're not. So that's the second piece. And again, we'll drill down on each of these as we move on. The third piece of how to create anything here on earth during this incredible time in consciousness is ask for help. I was just having this conversation with a sweet soul in my community, and life, it gave her this really big experience. And she realized, I'm really bad at asking for help, and I really needed a lot of help. And that intense experience was 3x'd what it had to be, perhaps, because she did not ask for help. I see this all the time in my private practice. Folks sign up for spiritual mentorship. Yes, I want to mentor. Yes, I'm in for it. Let's go. Right now we've got our apprenticeship, so we're teaching folks how to facilitate this metaphysical psychology, advanced technology that I've been given by Mary Magdalene and Yeshua in the highest light. They have the opportunity to work with me directly. I've dedicated my life to the divine and to be assisting humans. And they don't ask for help. They're going through some of the biggest shit in their life right now because, of course, we're all going through this massive transformation. They don't reach out for help. And guess what happens? They make really bad decisions. Really, really bad decisions. And by bad decisions, I mean on the scenic route of life decisions. I mean not connected to their higher wisdom decisions. I mean not having the joy and the peace and the love and the expansion that is here for them if they would ask for help. Okay, so let's drill down into each of these to give you a little bit more clarity. So this is the 3-step process of how to create anything during this time in consciousness. 1, you have to be connected to your source self. 2, you have to be consistent, persistent, and resilient AF. 3, you have to ask for help because it doesn't happen anymore all on our own. We are in the Aquarian age, my loves, and that means we got to do this and we got to do it together, and we need each other, and we are in this wheel of life, and the more that we honor our interdependence, the more we will thrive. The more we close off into independence, which is a wounded response to trauma from being dependent as a child and not having your needs met. I've talked about this throughout many podcast episodes. So let me know if you want more on that, and we can always do a specific episode about that, but I won't go deeper there. Or if we're too much dependency on one person or a couple of people to get us somewhere, and we are not taking our own actions. All of this throws us off from being able to create. And then the third step, of course, we have to ask for help. We have to ask for help. It's so important. Again, because of our interdependence and because of the importance of the gifts that we each have for each other. And when humans try to create together, which is what the Aquarian age is asking of us, oh my. It can be a bumpy ride because they're not used to doing this. So connecting to your source self, what does that look like? Might be easy to say, but I want to give you very tangible steps that you can take to connect to your source self. So how do you connect to your source self? You have to meditate every single day. I'm not playing with you here. You got to meditate every single day. You can do a guided meditation. You can meditate to 432 hertz or 528 hertz, whatever you want. Doesn't matter. You can meditate in silence and stillness and focus on your breath. You just have to meditate every day. And I hear people say, well, I don't know. Am I doing it right? I don't know. How do you meditate? So simple. So simple. You sit down. You sit down with both feet on the ground, your palms facing up on your lap. You connect, you say a prayer. Source, higher self, all my guides and angels of the highest light, I'm here. Please bless me and support me. Give me any divine guidance you want me to have, or allow me to rest in this space and be held by you. I'm just going to focus on my breath. If there's anything else you want me to know, I know you'll make it completely clear to me. And then you just focus on your breath. That's it. Set your timer for 22 minutes. What happens when you meditate is healing happens from your higher wisdom. Clarity comes to you. You're relaxing your nervous system. It has so many benefits for you physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It's the number one spiritual practice, aka self-care tool. And it allows you to connect to your source self. You can join us every single Sunday for free from wherever you're at 11 a.m. Meditate for 11 minutes. Do our Golden Age visualization meditation, which you can find on our website at sacred-spirituality.org. Visualize what your Golden Age looks like. And you're doing that in community with a network of light all over the planet, focused on what does it look like when we are living in an elevated state of consciousness. Like, how amazing is that? So meditate every day, one of the number one, if not the number one way to connect to your source self. And again, your intention is everything. So be intentional, especially at this time of acceleration in your ability to create. When you sit down to meditate, state your intention. Source self, higher wisdom. Make sure you're only calling on the highest light. There's all kinds of dimensions of people here on earth. There's all different dimensions and realms of non-physical energies. You want to make sure you're only activating the source frequency, the highest light frequency. So you ask, highest light frequency, guides and angels of the highest light, higher self, I'm here. I'm showing up. I want to be clear. I want to live my highest path. I know that as I sit here focusing on my breath, you are holding me and supporting me in doing this. And have a notebook close by, because you do not know the inspiration, the guidance, the direction that might come in. And sometimes when you're meditating, you're just going to go into a very deep state of relaxation, which means healing is happening. You might spontaneously start crying. You might notice that a song shows up in your mind. Pay attention to those lyrics. They're a message for you. So connect to your source self. You have to meditate daily. Read our transmissions every single day. We have written, how many oracles have we written? 5 oracles for you. So we've got A Life of Magic. We've got Ecstatic Union with the Divine. We've got Live Like You're on Vacation. We've got Sacred Love and Sacred Times. We've got Radical Abundance and Radical Times. 6. We've got Love Now, which is your daily dose of love and miracles, but all contain transmissions from Mary Magdalene, Yeshua, and all of the highest light. Just read 1 transmission a day. Have a couple of oracles, have a few oracles, whatever you'd like. Read 1 transmission a day. Connect into a higher frequency, a pure frequency of source light. That helps build your magnetism to activate your own source light frequency. And then you begin to emanate that source light frequency. The third thing to do so you can connect with your source self is to work on your emotional and mental health at least 3 times a week. Now, what does that mean, work on it? That means you show up, I can say that better, show up for whatever you're feeling and whatever's happening for you. Now, I want you doing this every day. But if you're new to this path, start with 3 times a week. We created the Activate Your Highly Sensitive Superpowers Guide so you can easily do this. It's a 4-step process that takes you through clearing what's not yours, feeling what is, working with your inner child, and deactivating ancestral trauma, generational curses, past life trauma, past life curses, and really setting yourself free. This allows you to be clear so you can stay connected to your source self. Now, what's the second way to create anything you want here on this earth? Consistency, persistence, and resilience. When I first began my journey and had my awakening in 2008, I remember, I'm not even sure how long this lasted, but in the early days, it was really like, if something doesn't work, it's not meant for me. It's not supposed to work out because I've had this bump in the road. This didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. Must not be right for me. Or it didn't go well. I want out of this thing. Right? It's not going the way that I thought it was going to go. People aren't showing up the way that I think they should. I need to get out of this. Huge mistake. Huge, huge, huge mistake. And again, I see healers, highly sensitive beings doing this all the time because they have not built up that dedication and that self-love to consistency. So if your higher wisdom gives you guidance and leads you to something, You must be consistent. You must be persistent, which means you do not give up. And you must be resilient, so when things do not go the way that you and your mind think they should, and trust me, they will. When that happens, you don't give up. You keep going. Now, you're going to see how these 3 steps all thread in together. So you don't just be consistent, persistent, and resilient on something your mind came up with or something someone else told you to do. You're consistent, persistent, and resilient with anything you've been divinely guided to through your connection to Source. So how do you build up that consistency, persistence, and resilience? You actually go back to step 1. You meditate every day. You read our high vibrational transmissions every day, and you do your emotional and mental health, love, and healing through our Activate Your Highly Sensitive Superpowers guide. If you do this, you will be clear to hear the wisdom from your divine source self, and you also will build up your consistency, resilience, and persistence. So that means that when you are divinely guided to do something, you will be able to continue to show up for it. And you will be able to have access. Your nervous system will have access to this, because what happens for most highly sensitive beings is if they do not have these grounding principles in their life, they're not connected to Source. They agree to things. They're not impeccable with their word because they do not have the nervous system regulation to do that, because they have not developed it. So no big deal. So you can develop it. So you can create the strength within you. And it's by doing these 3 things we've just given you. Meditate daily, read our transmissions daily, meaning you're taking in that high vibrational frequency, and do the Activate Your Highly Sensitive Superpowers guide at minimum 3 times a week. This is going to build your resiliency. It's going to build your auric strength. It's going to build your nervous system strength. It's amazing. And then you move out of being a wishy-washy sort of new ager, and you move into grounded creatrix, grounded presence. You begin to be able to create in such a potent way because you've also sent a very powerful message to the universe by following through on your agreements. You are now letting the universe know, like, I'm serious about this life experience. I'm not a hobbyist in being here on earth. I'm not planning on coming back for many incarnations. I am actually here to do this all the way. Grounded. I'm here to really show up for my incarnation and experience the deepest levels of fulfillment and satisfaction that I can experience. And you can't do that if you're not impeccable with your word. So if you agree to do something, see it through. And if you've agreed to do something and you did it from a disconnected from Source place, see it through and then don't do that again. So you stay in integrity. You're creating a powerful vibrational resonance for yourself, and you're staying in honor. When you stay in honor, the universe honors you. When you're in dishonor, you're going to have experiences like you're not going to be a very powerful creator. Anyone I see throughout the 14 years I've been doing this work, and I know you know this for you healers out there who are listening to this, the folks who are flaky, don't follow through, they say they're going to do something, they half-ass it, they don't complete the mission, they're not powerful creators. They're not incredibly successful in their life. They are struggling because they have a weak field. They have not strengthened their field. They most likely don't have a daily meditation practice, and they're definitely not working with their nervous system in a way that allows for that grounded strength. So that's okay, because we're all learning and we don't know what we don't know until we do know. And there's always tools here to support us so that we can anchor into our powerful creation. Now, the 3rd step, ask for help, links directly to the 2nd step, which links directly to the 1st step. So when you are being consistent, persistent, and resilient, you're going to have days where you might not, I don't want to say days, you're going to have moments where you might not feel so hot. Ask for help. If you've received divine guidance to create something and be a part of something, and then it's not going well and it's a bumpy ass ride, ask for help. And the first step to asking for help is to utter a prayer. Say highest light frequency, source herself, Mary Magdalene, Yeshua, whoever you're called to call on, just make sure they're the highest light frequencies. Please bring me support in this area, or I would like the answer to this question. Please bring it to me. And then pay attention to who shows up in your inbox and who reaches out to you and the conversations you start having and the information you get in your meditations, because that is the answer to your questions. So ask for help. I always make sure, and I encourage you to do the same, that I have a team of support so that when I hit bumps, because hello, we're Earth obstacle course, choose your own adventure. Where in the world is Carmen San Diego experience? You're going to have bumps. It's okay. Right? When we're in that sort of less spiritually and less emotionally mature state, which we've all been in, and some of you may still be in and are ready to come out of, you say, oh, I guess it's not meant for me. Oh, my heart is calling me to something else, right? We hear this just sort of like this ungrounded, we could even say toxic feminine sort of storyline. But when you are grounded in who you really are and you're being led by your divine source self and you're consistent, persistent, and resilient, when things come up, you know, oh, I just need support. This is the Aquarian age. We don't do anything all by ourselves. We never did anything all by ourselves, even in the Piscean age. But in the Piscean age, folks would go into addiction rather than going into that grounded level of support that is here for them. So I recommend, to finish that thought, I recommend that all of us have a network of support. Have at least 3 practitioners you are working with of different modalities that are the perfect blend that you found for you or that you're guided to for you. So I always recommend everyone should have a spiritual mentor. Everyone, yes. We need that spiritual support, and our spiritual mentors have mentors, and so on and so on. It's that wheel of life where we're all supporting us. Everyone should have a body talk practitioner. It's leading edge energy medicine. You got to have it in your life. It's phenomenal. And everyone should have a high vibrational astrologer who knows what's really going on in the 5th dimension and who can look at what's happening with your astrology and your astrological imprint and support you in that. Not to be predictive, but to guide you on these are the transits that are going to be affecting you. Here's what it's going to be affecting. Here's what's coming up for you so that you can navigate it with more wisdom. So when you're in any of your creations, you know, oh, this is a really good time for me to create based on what's happening in the cosmos. Or this time it might be a little bit slower. I'm not going to stop, but I'm also not going to let myself get burnt out or go into a negative storyline if it doesn't go the way that I want. So there you have it, my loves. You have the 3 steps to create anything that your soul deeply desires. And so easeful, isn't it? It's so easy. Connecting with source. Don't give up. Be consistent, persistent, resilient, and ask for help when you need it, when bumps come along the way. How amazing is that? And you can create anything that you would like. Anything that you deeply desire will come into form for you in a grounded, amazing way. When you're working on your psychology, what I just gave you is a metaphysical psychology formula. When you're working with your psychology in this way, watch out, world. You're going to have a completely different experience than you've had before, and you're going to have a completely elevated experience for these elevated higher consciousness times. Thank you so much for listening. If this podcast episode was of benefit to you, please feel free to forward it on to someone you love, make a donation, share a comment, post it on your social media, however you feel called to support this beautiful work in the world. May you be infinitely blessed. If you would like a free Golden Age visualization meditation, you can go to sacred-spirituality.org to receive it. If you would like a sacred love transmission from Mary Magdalene through myself, you can receive that also at sacred-spirituality.org. All of the resources we've talked about today you can find at sacred-spirituality.org. If you're interested in our oracles, go to /shop. We have a completely sovereign way of doing this work, so we do things in the least automated digital capacity that we can, so be sure to just read on the shop area. It'll outline how you can receive our goodness, and always let me know if you have any questions. You can reach out to me via email really easily. So much love to you, sending so many blessings to you as you walk this path during this incredible time in consciousness. Until next time.